Ink that dreams of paper. The ink shop sat at the far end of Wren Alley, half forgotten by the world and yet impossible to truly overlook. Its crooked windows glimmered like dark eyes beneath a moss-lined awning, and every time the wind sighed through the alleyway, the wooden sign above the door, Marrow and Quill, Inks of Distinction, creaked as though murmuring secrets in its sleep. Those who passed by swore the place had a pulse, a soft thrum beneath the cobblestones, as though the shop itself breathed stories no living tongue had ever spoken. Eden Fairweather had never meant to stop there. She'd only been trying to escape the rain that swept through the city like a silver curtain, slicing down the street with the soft roar of 1,000 whispered warnings. Clutching her damp notebook to her chest, she ducked beneath the awning and pushed open the door, and at once the world shifted. Warmth curled around her ankles like a friendly cat. The air held the fragrant weight of cedarwood, old paper, and something else, a sweetness like petrichor and violets, the scent of ideas waiting to be born. Ink bottles lined every surface, glittering in shades no natural spectrum contained, moonlit silver, ember red that flickered like breathing fire, blue so deep she felt she might fall into it and keep falling forever. No one ends up here by accident. His voice was low, almost velvety. I'm Thorn. She introduced herself, though something in his expression suggested he already knew her name, the way a librarian knows her most frequent visitor's footsteps. Thorn lifted her notebook with careful fingers. You write, he said. Not a question. A recognition. I try, she murmured. Mostly it's just scribbles. Unfinished things. Unfinished things are simply stories waiting for a braver tomorrow. He placed her notebook on the counter and reached for a small bottle, a delicate sphere of glass filled with rippling lavender ink. It glowed faintly, as though lit from inside by a restless dream. This one might help. Eden hesitated. What does it do? Thorn's smile turned mysterious. It listens. She almost laughed, but something about the bottle tugged at her, like a forgotten melody brushing against memory. She uncorked it, dipped the shop's feathered quill, and pressed it to a piece of parchment. The ink moved with her pulse. Her words flowed, not from her thoughts, but from somewhere deeper, a wellspring beneath her ribs that she'd always known existed but never quite reached. Sentences unfurled like silk ribbons. Images bloomed, a girl chasing fireflies across a forgotten field, a constellation shaped like a dancer's outstretched hands, a locked door waiting for a key made of starlight. Eden's breath hitched. She wasn't writing, she was remembering dreams she'd never dreamed. Thorn watched her with an expression tinged by awe, and something sadder. It has chosen you. What do you mean? Some ink, he said softly, comes from stories that never found a page. Dreams that dissolved before they touched the world. When those dreams die, the ink is born, longing for a writer who can give it shape. Eden stared at the shimmering lavender script. These aren't mine. No, he whispered. They're waiting to become yours. As she wrote, the shop shifted subtly around her. Shadows lengthened into flowing shapes. Shelves creaked as though leaning closer. Bottles shimmered like attentive eyes. It felt as though thousands of unwritten tales were holding their breath. Hours passed unnoticed. When she finally set down the quill, her hand trembling with exhilaration, she whispered, I've never written like that before. You weren't writing alone. Thorn rested a hand over hers, warm, grounding, real. Ink like this doesn't just dream of paper. It dreams of a writer who can bring it to life. A strange flutter warmed her chest, delicate as butterfly wings. For the first time in years, the heavy stone of doubt that lived beneath her ribs felt lighter, as though someone had lifted it gently aside. But something else stirred beneath her newfound wonder, a question. A fear. Why give it to me? What if I can't finish it? Thorn's expression softened into something heartbreakingly tender. because you came in from the rain," he said, "and the ink has been waiting for someone like you. Someone who feels stories in their bones." He guided her through rows of bottles, each glowing faintly. Every writer leaves a mark on the world. But some writers, his gaze lingered on her. Some writers are born to resurrect forgotten things. Eden felt the truth of his words settle around her like an old friend returning home. As she moved to pay, Thorne gently shook his head. "Keep it. Just promise one thing, finish the story it gives you." The storm had passed by the time she stepped outside. The sky shimmered with lavender dusk, mirroring the ink in her hand. When she turned back for one last look, the shop seemed to waver, like a reflection in disturbed water. The lights inside dimmed, then blinked out. She pushed open the door again, but the shop was gone. Only the faint scent of cedarwood lingered, drifting through the alley like a half-remembered lullaby. Eden pressed the bottle to her heart. And somewhere deep within the glass, the ink seemed to sigh, a soft exhale of hope and longing. That night, she wrote until dawn. Words poured from her like starlight, steady and bright. And each line felt guided by something ancient, gentle, alive. By morning, her story was finally beginning to breathe. And in a corner of the city where maps ran thin and alleys bent strangely, a forgotten shop stirred in its sleep, waiting for the next dreamer who might need it just as badly.